Welcome back to Late Checkout, guys. Oof. Last week's episode was a good one. Travel is therapy. If you missed it, go back and listen to it. It is such a great way to reframe traveling for you to embrace the fact that you can literally gain so much therapeutic experience while you're away. It does not matter where you are. We don't need to go on a full retreat to feel revitalized, to feel like we've met a piece of ourselves. Like we don't have to do the whole meditation, yoga retreats, even though those are lovely. To gain that access of self when we're away, it can literally be a city getaway, a beach getaway, a mountain getaway. It can be a group trip. Literally, it is such a unique experience to you when you are traveling, how you meet yourself while you're out there. So if you need some inspiration about really wanting to have that access to self when you're traveling and what the deeper meaning of travel can really do for you, check that episode out. You are going to love it. So this week, I've just been so reflective the last couple of days. I don't know if it's like what's going on in the astrology fields or just what I've been uncovering with my readings and my thoughts to myself, but I really have this full-blown, like deep-rooted pull to talk about and share the ways that you can fall back in love with yourself. In the journey of me building my brand, and even just in the journey since I've lost my father, there has been such an accelerated rate of how I approach my wellness journey. And really what it comes back to is my relationship with myself. The way I go deep with myself, the way I can find compassion with myself, the way I can go back in history and rewire neural pathways around trauma, around situations, around dynamics. And all of that unfolds into this self-love journey that's helped me embrace all aspects of myself, and it's an ongoing journey. There's still so much to uncover. This is why the human experience is such a special and unique one, because there's always work to do. There's always something to discover about yourself, because we're always changing and we're always going through new experiences. And there's always going to be things that we can reflect on to understand ourselves better. And the more we understand ourselves, the more we can move in a more aligned way that actually is in lockstep with like honoring ourselves, like our true selves, not the version of self that is conditioned by all the things that we've experienced and all the people around us and our family history and what culture's been like, but truly what lies underneath it all, like bringing up that true inner self, that like raw essence of like who you came into this world as, that energy that you were born with, that you were supposed to be here showing and creating from and making moves from. Life has this very funny way of teaching us what life should look like, right? Like what should you be doing at a certain age? What should you be doing at a certain point in life? What should your career look like? What kind of money should you be making? What kind of things should you be doing? What kind of things do you want to fill your time with? How should you be raising your kids? It's all the shoulds that we need to wash out and come back to self and approach it all from the lens of what you're truly meant to be living, how you're meant to be moving, how you're meant to be raising your kids, how your decision making to get to the different milestones and points and seasons of your life. It really is not a one size fits all. It is not a box to check. It is a journey for each of us, like one of one, to experience, to embrace, to understand, and all of it looks so different. And I love this era of like individuality that we're coming into, where people really are coming to the surface with these like self brands and these thought leaders, and having the world be at a point where we can hold space for people just being individually themselves and being individually unique is the most important thing we need as a society. Because as we have all of these boxy views of life and like what you should be doing, what you should not be doing, starting to not be as important. It's not important if you're checking the box. It's not important if you fit in this box. It's more important on a soul level, like in this journey, to make sure that the box that you are creating is literally made up of like your stardust, like literally what you came here to be and what to do. Approaching that from a lens of self love, of creating a relationship with yourself, allows you to walk into the space of individuality with more confidence, with a more like inner knowing. You don't want to wake up one day and just think to yourself, what the fuck am I even doing here? Like, I didn't even want this life. I was just told that I needed this life and I should be having this life. We need to wake ourselves up in the middle in different ways to make sure that we are moving and decision making and bringing things into our lives in a way that really is aligned with exactly who we are, exactly who we're meant to be, and exactly what we're here to do. Now, if this is your first time here, this is such a delayed welcome, but welcome to Late Checkout. This is my podcast. My name is Laura Janella. I own a travel and wellness brand that I have built fully from my purpose and from what I swear the divine is pushing me to do here. So welcome. I'm so excited to have you. You can follow me along on Instagram at Laura Janella _ or at Late Checkout's Instagram. If you're just into the podcast, I totally get that too. But if you're really into travel and wellness, sign up for my newsletter. It comes out weekly, and I love doing these quick deep dives on a weekly basis to come back to self, come back to ways of intentionally traveling, intentionally living, pouring back into yourself, and all of that good stuff. So this week, I'm going to give you 6 ways to fall back in love with yourself. As I've been going through my own self-discovery journey, human journey, self-love journey, I'm realizing that there is a way for me to share in a digestible way that you guys can take into your lives so easily to meet yourselves, to understand yourselves a little bit better, to make sure you're in the driver's seat and fall back in love with yourselves. It's so important. I really am passionate about every single person in the world truly meeting themselves with their eyes wide open and with no shame and no embarrassment, and really embracing who we are so we can live the life that we want from a self-loving place. Like, if we're coming out of a place of love, everything that we move through and create and do is going to come from an integral place within you. And that place is special. Each and every single one of us is so special. Hey guys, really quick, I want to share something with you that I'm offering right now, because if you're listening to this episode, there's a chance it could be exactly what you need. It's called the Travel Clarity Call. 60 minutes, just you and me on video, and we use that hour to find the trip that's actually been calling you and to understand why it's been calling you. Because I really believe, and I say this all the time on this pod, that travel is a portal. It's a tool to use to meet a part of yourself again, or to plug back into self, or to meet the new version of self. And so many seasons of life call for us to use a special tool, but the trip has to be designed specifically for who you are in this moment. So if you're in a transition, adjusting to a new chapter of life, a career pivot, a divorce, motherhood, a move, moving through grief, or if you just have that quiet feeling and knowing that you need to get away, like a craving to feel alive again and plug back into self, this Travel Clarity Call is for you. By the end of the hour, you leave with a destination, a clear why, and the language to describe what your soul has been craving. 5 days later, I'm going to send you a clarity brief right to your inbox that includes 2 curated experiences specifically for you in the destination that we land on, and a personalized journal prompt that helps you meet that version of self while you're there. This is all custom to you, unique to you and your journey. No 2 clarity calls are ever the same. The link to book this clarity call is in the show notes, so go check it out, or come find me on Instagram at LauraJanella _ and DM me the word clarity, and I will personally send it straight to you. All right, back to the episode. I want to welcome the idea that when you are approaching yourself again and getting curious about yourself, that you do have to come from a place of like being curious about yourself, to fall in love with yourself. I mean, think about falling in love with another person. right? It's like it starts off as a crush. You're like, what are they about? What do they like? What lights them up? What's going on in their head? And then you get, like all mushy gushy and the butterflies and excited to like know their inner workings and how they are and, how they wake up and all these things. We are going to take that same exact like feeling, but just turn it to the mirror to us, like turn that focus point to us and give ourselves that same type of curiosity, give ourselves that same type of like, I want to date you again, like getting yourself almost excited to meet this new version of you. And not because you're going to be brand new, but because you haven't taken the time to do that. So taking it as like excitement and curiosity about self can get us really excited to get into the process flow of this. When we're bogged down by life and we are in a victim mindset, when we feel like things are happening to us and not for us, when we're in a situation where we really think low of ourselves because we have this tendency to be our own worst critic. The things we say to ourselves in our head, we wouldn't dare say to somebody else or to a closest friend about themselves. Like we just have ego living inside of us, constantly pushing us to be better. But better in what sense? Better compared to the person next to you, better compared to the people on social media, because none of that is important when we're comparing ourselves. The only person we need to be comparing ourselves to is ourselves. And what do we have to build on that comparison? We have to take the time to like understand ourselves, what's underneath the ego, what's underneath the critic. Now, right before we get into this, I just want to say that in my journey with self-love, it's been this unfolding process. It was baby steps. It was curiosity about a certain therapy. It was curiosity about self. It was me being so dysregulated as a new mom and needing to find ways to pour back into me. It was me trying to find regulation tips, but not even realizing it was regulation that I was seeking. I was just seeking peace and joy. And now I'm in this place, and I hope to continue to be, where it's essential, it's a priority, it's a non-negotiable that I just like to feel good about me and my body, me in my decisions, me in who I'm filling my life with, what I'm doing for my work, what I'm doing behind closed doors, what I'm doing at any given moment. I want to be aware and intentional with that. So with meeting ourselves, there's a beautiful story to unfold of how you naturally become more intentional with the energy and the people and the spaces that you put yourself into, because you know that you deserve the absolute best and you deserve spaces and places and people who really will feed and build onto what your true essence is, right? Who you fall in love with, how you fall in love with yourself, and those aspects of self that you truly can bring some real unconditional love to. Now, the first one, I'm going to say it's the easiest one, but it's also hard. The first way to approach falling in love with yourself is get clear on what brings you joy. Get clear on activities, habits, hobbies, places, settings, people that bring you joy, that like bring that giddiness out of you, that sparks that like inner true happiness in you. You can write these things down, you can think them out loud, but get clear on the difference between what truly brings you joy and what you've been doing that you just think brings you joy because you've been doing it for so long on autopilot potentially. And now I say this is a little difficult just because it's easy to get lost in the space between what actually lights you up and what your ego thinks you should be doing to light you up. Like you really have to think, what are some of the things that I do or that I can do that bring me joy? Particularly hobbies and habits. These are the things that really get you giddy and excited to do, like moving your body. It could be cooking a really good meal. It could be sitting out in the sun. It could be going to the beach. It could be going for the walk. It could be reading a certain book or a certain genre of books. Things that you know that give you that inner happiness, inner peace, that spark to do, like you're jumping to do it, you're excited to do it. And have the priority to set an alarm once a week. And you can start light. Start once a week to non-negotiably do them. And the reason why I say this, because the more you do it, right, it's even better if you can do it once a day. Like, so just literally set an alarm that says joy, like 3 p.m. joy. And like you go do that thing for half an hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is that you have time and space for, but actually prioritizing that joy, because what you're doing is actually prioritizing nervous system regulation. You're regulating your nervous system when you're in a state of joy, a state of peace, a state of connection. And when we connect with those things, when we do those things, you're showing your nervous system, A, that you're safe, but also you're showing yourself that you are a priority. You are doing the thing that makes you happy, and non-negotiably, you are not going to give it up because it is important to you. You're building this relationship with self, but also you get to see yourself be joyous and be happy and have that excitement to do something and really see yourself light up in that like visceral, sparky way that becomes like a dopamine hit for yourself. Like, yes, I'm going to Pilates. Yes, I get to read chapter 30 of that book. Yes, I get to go and have a coffee outside by myself and let the sun hit my face. Like, the thing that actually gets you really happy to just go and do it and to actually prioritize it and put an alarm in your phone to do it. I remember doing this with my nature walks when I first started realizing how much it brought me joy to just be in the midst of the trees and feel grounded in nature and have the sun hit my face in between the branches. Like, that started with me setting an alarm for myself once a day to go outside and to make sure that I got those steps in, but in that particular setting. And once it's in your rhythm and flow, which is why the alarm is so important, you feel it on the days that you skip it. You feel the dysregulation or the lack of regulation that you gave yourself or the lack of joy you gave yourself. Like, prioritizing your joy allows your nervous system to really be trusting of you, because all it's trying to do is keep you safe and have you survive. So when you're giving yourself that nourishment, like it's true, like soul, genuine joy nourishment that you're giving yourself in this priority exercise. It's also building your trust muscle with your nervous system, because when the times get crazy and you're a little dysregulated, like we all can get, you know the exact thing that can make you bounce back. You know the exact thing that you're going to be craving to be able to regulate again. And when we have that respect for ourselves and when we have that love for ourselves, it just opens up this door of wanting more and needing more and wanting to love ourselves more and to bring more joy into our lives. And it kind of just becomes an incremental big toolbox that we build, and you don't know how to live without it after a certain point. But it's like baby steps. Again, the alarm can be once a week. It can be every other day. It can be for 10 minutes a day. It can be for whatever it is that you have digestible time for, start there. Number 2, the second way I love to be in check with my self and love for myself and an understanding for myself is bringing the energy around me of other people who are also awake in that way in this journey. And sometimes we don't have friends or community that is on a path like this, but you can find these pockets through podcasts. And I'm not saying this because this is a podcast, but I'm saying this because when I started listening to podcasts that had expanded vocabulary around self-understanding and self-love and the whole bigger meaning of life and how to deal with problems and how to look at life with different tests and challenges and mirrors, and kind of having this whole awakening and giving language and giving understanding, and episodes that I could walk away from to reflect about myself and to think and to actually get me just really thinking about self and building a relationship with self. It changed the whole entire game for me. I am not joking. This was a huge unlocking, was to be able to have a once a week, because usually the episodes drop once a week, like a once a week 20-30 minute episode where I am hearing somebody who is more evolved than me sharing ways to look at self, ways to fall back in love with self, ways to explore self and understand ourselves. Like, that is inspirational. That brings you to a reflective state, that makes you more aware. It wakes you up. You start resonating with the material. You reflect on what they're talking about based on what you're going through. There's going to be episodes where you feel seen and understood, and you're like, oh my God, I am going through that. Maybe I can apply whatever it is that they're talking about. Give yourself the opportunity to listen to people who have done the inner work, who have prioritized self love in their own lives, to inspire you, to change the game for you, to expand your mind, and to bring yourself to this level of consciousness where you can't unsee the importance around building a strong relationship with your soul, with yourself, with your wants, your needs, your desires, like in this life and in this human journey. And I'm going to recommend three of my favorites, because these are three that I came across probably in the last like 2 to 3 years, and I have not turned back. Like, these are on my rotation, so I'm going to share them with you. Their libraries are extensive, and the titles really allow you to step into whichever episode you want that's calling to you, you know? So the first one is Aligned by Jenna Zoe. Jenna Zoe is one of the most well-known human design readers. You do not even need to know about human design or astrology or gene keys or anything like that to listen to her podcast. Her podcasts come at an angle of self-fulfillment, understanding how to break away from the world's need to box you and to really cancel that noise out and like listen to self, be in tune with self, the importance of this human journey, just being alive and knowing that the more you understand yourself, the better you are at walking through this life, because we all have a role to play. This is what she says. Like, we all uniquely have a role to play. And the more that we're aligned with what we're here and meant to do, literally the better off the world is. Like, that your community's better off, the people around you are better off, and literally that trickles, right? There's like an effect to that. She has this really gorgeous and beautiful way of bringing to light how important you are and how each individual person, human, living on this planet is important and has a role to play. It like brings you into main character energy, but in a really soulful way. I absolutely love all of her episodes. Guys, game changer. She is so good. The second podcast I'm going to recommend to you guys is the Expanded Podcast by To Be Magnetic. Surprise, surprise. If this is not your first episode, you know I talk about To Be Magnetic all the time because I am a practicing pathway member. But again, you do not need to know anything about To Be Magnetic or understand the practices of manifestation and what they do and EMDR and therapy and all of that to just jump in on an episode that calls to you. They talk about everything under the sun when it comes to our journey, like things that we're confronted with, tests, triggers, challenges, the way to get out of your own way, to be more aware of each and every situation that could be in front of you and how to deal with it. Like, they talk about career, they talk about love, they talk about hitting rock bottoms and being in ruts. They talk about building brands, building relationships. They talk about every aspect of the human journey in length in a way that allows you to see the hyper awareness that you could have when it comes to your role in that situation and the way you can kind of gain control back in your life and how you can actually see that certain dynamics in front of you are there to help you and not to hurt you. It's just like reframing, reshifting, rethinking that everything that we are in is a pure reflection of the energy that we hold inside, the decisions that we've made, the limiting self beliefs that we have. They talk a lot about limiting self beliefs that we gain from our childhood, from experiences, from shaming, from programming, from trauma. It is such a human podcast. Like there's not one human in the world that cannot relate to this podcast. They have special guests on that go in depth in their expertise. It is just such a good podcast. I recommend that as equally to Jenna Zoe, but really the three that I'm listing, like whichever one speaks to you, go with it. It will change your life. It will shift the way you start thinking about the way you're moving through the journey with yourself and the journey in this life. And the last one is actually a newer one that I came across about 6 months ago. It is by Sarah Baldwin and it's called You Make Sense. Sarah Baldwin is a parts work therapist. She's well known in the therapy world. And I've done parts work, IFS therapy. And again, if you have not done therapy at all, not a lick of it, don't understand it, you can still jump into this podcast because she has this really sweet and soulful way of talking about the reasons why we can't break through to our abundance, or the reasons why we can't let go of certain narratives, or the reasons why we have repetitive numbing behaviors. She goes deep on her topic. She really cares about the information that she's giving out, and she's such a good storyteller. She'll have you engaged right away, and she has such a soothing voice. So for anybody who might be going through a time that is very challenging, anxiety driven, and feeling a little lost, I think that's a great podcast to start at because she has a way of grounding you back in and giving you the perspective that you make sense, which is the title of her podcast, but in the most genuine way. She is filled with information. And I actually did one of her workshops a few months back, which is why I did my nervous system episode like a month or two back. It was triggered from that workshop that I did with her, and it was absolutely incredible. I learned so much about nervous system and nervous system work and how our nervous systems are really built to protect us. But she also explains how you can move with your nervous system. You can kind of shape shift and be compassionate with your story and your past and your history and your nervous system so you can move on and decision make differently and spend your time differently and just grow to love yourself. Even the deepest, darkest parts of you, just grow to love them. So those are my 3 podcasts. Highly recommend across the board to have one of them once a week on a rotation to bring more language and love to your self-love journey. Number 3 for me has been one that's evolved a lot since the beginning of my work in the law of attraction. This is building a gratitude practice. I want to give you the science behind it because it's really important to understand how your brain works so you can then see that gratitude and gratitude journaling and gratitude practices aren't just a bunch of fluff. It's not just a bunch of words you're putting out there. It's actually helping your brain to filter on what you see and how you perceive the things around you in a more grateful way. It's like shifting into that positive mindset, right? Like the law of attraction is all about that positivity. Like what you think is what you are. When I first started my practices back when I was like 18, 19 years old, I had a lot of positive thinking, optimistic thinking that didn't stand on the grounds of understanding the science and the brain behind it. It was more just like, well, I can just think of positive things and that's what'll happen to me. And I think, yes, that happens to an extent, but having like a practice, right? I really want to bring this into like, how can you do this either once a week? Again, I want this to be digestible, or once a day is even better. But to sit there in a moment, and this can be another alarm that goes off on your phone, and set it and call it gratitude once a week. Every Friday, 10 a.m., you practice gratitude. And then from there, it can build. It can be every other day. Then it could be every day. It could be for 2 minutes. It could be for 10 minutes, whatever. Because this is life changer. This is stuff that actually really, in a neuro way, helps you so much. Okay, so there is this filter your brain uses to essentially bring in information from your outside environment into your internal environment, right? And it's called the reticular activation system, RAS. And the more we can program our RAS to filter on the good things, the more you're going to perceive the good things. Like, think about it. When you have a day that's real shit and you're just like, can this day get any worse? And then it does. It's because you have just told your RAS, show me what else can get shittier. Show me what else can get worse. And you will find it. You will find the things that get you worse, whether it's somebody cutting you off or whatever. Like once you get into that victim mindset, it is because your RAS is looking for the shit that makes you feel like a victim. And when you gratitude practice, when you have these small bouts of time where you can really focus on the good, you are showing your brain, you are telling your brain, you are filtering your brain, you're adjusting the filters. Like, think about a filter on a web page. Like, you are adjusting the filters, like, only show me good, only show me this, only show me that. The more you do it, the better and clearer the filter is. So when you come to gratitude with self-love, in this particular episode, I want to focus on the gratitude being about yourself. Again, we can be our own worst critics, bro. We can be so mean to ourselves. It is so horrific. So taking the time to write down 5 things. It can be in your notes app, it can be in a journal. And if you just want to think them, but maybe just say them out loud. Like, I really like that feeling of it's coming out of your brain and out to something and not just staying in your brain, right? Like, it needs to be written out or typed out or said out loud. 5 things that you are grateful for about yourself. Not about anything else in your life, not about any of the people in your life. Things about yourself. I am grateful that my heart is beating and healthy and keeps me alive every day. I am grateful for my lush and amazing hair. I am grateful for my legs that are healthy and walking and can bring me to the gym, and I can do squats and I can do all these things. I am grateful for the way I laugh. I am grateful for my humor, how funny I am. I'm grateful for my ability to see the good in things. I am grateful for the love I have for food. Whatever it is, you can think of 5 things every week that are different, because there is actually so much to love about yourself. I love the way that I wake up in the morning. I love the amount of sleep that I give to myself. I love that I am a coffee snob and I only drink good coffee. Like, literally things about yourself that you do, that you like, that your physical self is. You could say, I love that I believe in God. Just make it about you. Filter on the good shit about you, so that when you're walking through this journey of life and you're in this pace of loving yourself and really trying to get curious and embracing yourself, that you're helping your RAS, that reticular activation system, to keep looking for that stuff, to keep loving yourself, to keep embracing yourself, and to really find that love. Like, it's a true, like a love, like, wow, like an amazement of self, an awe of self, especially when it's in the physical way, that you can get grateful for all the things you don't even think about that are working for you, like all of your organs and your skin, and that you have both of your arms and both of your legs. Like, the more you kind of become in awe of just your human body. And you can have this real appreciation that as much as your human body is yours, it was truly like given to us. It was given to our souls. It was given to our spirits. And you can just have this appreciation for it. And you're filtering your brain to just love on yourself more. I love this practice, guys. I think it's honestly one of the best in the list of these 6. Number 4, I am going to invite you guys into the woo-woo world and say a great way to understand yourself from an energetic level is learning your human design. You don't need to learn all about it. Just Google, what's my human design, calculate it, find out what your energetic profile is. It gives you your strategy, your authority, your incarnation cross, but most importantly, it lists your gifts. For those of you who do not know what human design is essentially the science of your energetic being. It's the science of your aura, right? Like we have our physical bodies, but we also have our energetic bodies, like the energy, right? Everything's made of energy. What is the type of energy making up our spirit that's energetically around us, right? And it's really beautiful because this work actually introduces you to a level of self that you already know exists within you. Like you're going to read this stuff and be like, oh my God, yes, that is why I like to be around people, or I don't like to be around people, or I like to do certain things in a certain way, or eat a certain way, or exercise a certain way. It really gives you the ability to take a step back and be like, oh my God, like, wait, I know this is me, but now I really know that I'm meant to be this way. Because there might be aspects of self that you push down, that you shame out because it's not like anybody else, maybe like conditioning from when you were growing up. But it could very much be just in your energetic makeup that is just the way you are and the way you function and the way that you're energetically designed, the way you're moving through this world, the way you're living. It's so unique to you. And this is why I do love the woo-woo stuff, is because I approached it from a lens ever so long ago, even when I was looking at astrology. It was the first time I felt understood on paper. I was like, how do they know who I am on the inside? Like, wait. So I'm impulsive and like to travel, and I'm extensively a little bit blunt and really philosophical and deep because I'm a Sagittarius and Capricorn moon and Aquarius rising. Oh my God. And then like human design takes it a whole level further in just a more of like a sciencey, energetic way, which then leads us to love ourselves, to understand ourselves, to actually embrace the energy that we know is within us, that's meant to be emitted, that's meant to be expressed. And when you look up your human design, I'm going to link a website in the show notes for you guys to look it up. So it's a quick, just click on the link in the show notes for you guys to just like pull it up really quick because it's so interesting and it's free. But they list out your gifts. In human design, everybody has all of these gifts, right? But each of us has a gift that makes up 70% of our essence. 70% of our essence. There is a gift that you were born with, that you are here to share, that you are here to live through and to express. And it comes in all the different ways that each and every person can express that gift. But knowing that gift and understanding that this is the gift you get to give to the world and the gift you get to express in so many different ways, it unlocks a whole level of self-understanding and of self-love. I remember I bought Jenna Zoe's book shortly after I learned about human design, and I just went in. Took out my highlighter. I'm like, tell me my gifts, tell me my profile, tell me what settings I'm best to be in, tell me what my authority and strategy is. Like there's so much. Dive in. And if you do dive in and you want to talk about it and you have no one else to talk about it, DM me because I love this shit. I love talking about human design. Okay, number 5. This is going to be a moment where we get to embrace a darker part of ourselves. So I invite you in number 5 to take a moment, think about a time that you hated something you did or something you said, or a moment that you felt super embarrassed, or you felt a lot of shame, a lot of hate for yourself, or embarrassment. If you were reactive, something's going to come to mind. And your nervous system is probably right now like, what the fuck? Why are we thinking about this? But this is a very, very, very important aspect of the journey with loving yourself and self-love, is seeing these parts of ourselves and bringing love and compassion to them. So think about that one thing. Think about that one time. Think about that one version of self that you just, shame. Can you extend a hug to that version of self? Can you mentally hug that person that just came out of that shameful situation, or that reactive situation, or that version of self you just don't like? Can you bring an emotional hug of like understanding, compassion, hugging them as if it was like a parent hugging a child when they've done something wrong and they just need that hug to know that somebody is there and still supporting them even after doing the shitty thing? This is shadow work, where you meet aspects of yourself that you do not like, you suppress, you shame, anything in that nature, and bring them forward and have a moment for them to understand them. Because what that shadow aspect was doing in those moments that you hated what you did or said, it was trying to protect you, because maybe it felt attacked. Maybe it felt upset, overwhelmed, their feelings were hurt. And that was the only way your nervous system and yourself knows how to be in that moment, based on a ton of programming from your childhood and from your experiences. And having a second and giving them the space to be seen, to be heard, to be loved, most importantly, loved, unlocks a path of your ability to not just love the highlight reel of you, but to give yourself this better understanding of how and why you function the way you did, the way you do. And then if you took it deeper, you can integrate it. You can understand it enough so that when it comes up, when that aspect comes up, when that feeling comes up, when that reaction comes up in real time, you can immediately see that part for what it is, and maybe not let them take the driver's seat in that moment. And the more they're understood, the more love you have for your shadow aspects, the more they trust you, yourself with a capital S, to be in the driver's seat in the moments where they want to jump in and have the reaction. This was one of the most pivotal and important pieces of work that I still do to this day of my therapy and self-love journey. And I introduced this to you in such a small, bite-sized way, but I couldn't do this episode and not bring up shadow work, because we can't just do the highlight reel. We can't just do the gratitude journaling, the joy, the positive. We also have to know that we need to love even our biggest flaws, even our biggest shadows. Because if we don't meet them with love, then they will continuously feel the shame that we put on them. So whenever those moments come up where you're feeling those same things in the future, that shame self, I hope this exercise can give you the pause for a second. Ask why it's coming up. get curious, right? This is again like dating. This is now you're in the relationship. Now you're seeing the dark stuff in yourself. So get curious as to why it's there. Work with it. Think about it as your own partner. Like, what would you do if you saw a bad reaction from your partner? You want to understand them. You want to help them. You want to move through it with them. So look at your shadow aspects in that same exact way. Okay, so number 6, lastly, 'cause I gotta go. I have a Pilates class in like 20 minutes. Find the setting where you can be alone and think about all of your thoughts freely. Any setting, really. It can be in the shower, it can be on a walk, it could be in your bedroom sitting on the floor. It really can be anywhere, but think of the one setting that allows you to think very freely, right? Because it could even be journaling, right? If you are a journaler and you like to journal, then do that. Journaling is excellent. But if you're not a journaler and you just are a thinker and you just think things out, find the setting that becomes like your safe space where you can think freely, where you can think about all the bad, all the good, and set time for you to be in that space to think freely and not force yourself to think about anything specific or certain or in your schedule. It's almost like journal thinking or journal talking. You can talk it out loud. Just get emotions out, get thoughts out, get concerns out, get love out. Whatever's coming to you, it's like a free flow, right? Like think about it as word vomit. Just get it out. Get that exercise of giving yourself the space and the setting that you feel safe enough to just dump, to really just get all of the mush out, because we have what, like 60,000 thoughts a day, and we are typically on a schedule, a routine, going to the next thing. We don't get to process a lot of what's going on as soon as it's going on. It's usually at the end of the day or later, you're talking to a friend. But I think it's more important for you to have that setting in time to do it with yourself. Because then again, this is like the trust muscle of just being your full self with yourself. We all need to pour it all out. We all just need to say what we want to say, think what we want to think with no shame, no thoughts, no nothing, with nobody around us, and just having that intentional dialogue, that intentional writing, that intentional thinking opens up space for more things to come in. It clears our head. It gives us the ability to clean the slate of all the messy thoughts of what was going on during the day. So I'm going to end on this note. I've been reading A Course in Miracles for the past year and a half, and because it's a long ass book and it's very deep and things to digest in it is it's a lot. I go into existential thoughts 2 minutes into reading one page and I have to like pause and integrate what I just read. But I'm loving the journey of reading A Course in Miracles. I truly am. And one of the big things that they talk about is the learning of seeing the separation between ego and the Holy Spirit, right? And this doesn't have to be fully religious for you. I'm just expressing how this can come into play when you're looking at yourself and coming to love yourself and approaching yourself with love. Because we are in a human body, right? We have this human body, and this human body comes with an ego. This guy right up here. It comes with an ego because it helps us survive. I feel like when I think about all of the work that I do, I kind of link things together where I'm like, oh, the ego is kind of like your nervous system too. It's like it's all the hardwiring, like the hardware to your body, right? Like you could see, and the ego is operating from this human on this material world in this playing field of humanness. And the Holy Spirit, which is our piece of God that lives within us, we're all God's will in this practice, right? Is fully detached from this human body. It's looking at this experience from your soul level, from the spirit level, from the higher eternal life level, like seeing the bigger picture, which is way bigger than our very small lifespan on this earth. And if there's ever a time that you can spot that you're thinking from ego, or you're operating from ego? Can you stop in your tracks and reframe and think about yourself from up above, from a higher self, and question yourself? Can I be thinking about this differently? Can I be moving about this differently? Like while in this ego state, moving from ego, really being an ego consciousness, self-critic, defensive, fighting over things that aren't worth fighting over, getting upset about things, victimizing yourself. Like the ego loves to stay comfortable. It'll convince you that you are supposed to be exactly where you need to be right now. And our soul, our intuition, our Holy Spirit, if you will, sees the bigger picture and how you can be sharing your love, can be sharing your light, the way your essence is supposed to be here, and how you need to be expressing yourself. And it all comes back to love, right? When it comes to God and the Holy Spirit. So giving yourself that moment of pause, if you can catch yourself in the moment, because this is the hardest part. We are human. We're not Jesus, and we're not going to always just be like, love you, brother, even though you're smacking me in the face. That's not reality. But what we can do is give ourselves a pause when we can, if we see it, if we clock it in real time. And at the very least, just reshift, reframe quickly, and say to yourself, I am love. I am love. Remind yourself that you are love. When you've clocked that you're in the heat of the moment, when you've clocked that you're in a victim mindset, when you've clocked that you're spiraling about something, because we all spiral, can you pause and say, I am love? And say it as many times as you can to get you out of that ego consciousness that oh so regularly has us shaming ourselves, hating ourselves, making us feel guilty, making us feel jealous, making us feel things that can really get us into a place where we disconnect from the real purpose of life and the real purpose of our essence and the real purpose of like loving ourselves, you know? Definitely something I'm implementing. I am no higher power, but I am trying my best to enlighten myself in ways always to keep being plugged into this amazing life journey, this human experience that I was blessed with. And if I can do my utmost work while I'm here in trying to just stay as aware and present and in the essence of love, loving myself, loving everybody, loving my life, decision making from love, I know I'm doing the best I can. I know we all are. But I think from this episode, you'll be able to take some tidbits to be walking in more love with yourself. So I hope that for all of you. I wish that for all of you. Guys, if you ever want to talk about this stuff, please DM me. Do not be shy. I love getting into deep conversations. Again, if you're interested, sign up for my newsletter. I'm going to link it in the show notes. And I will see you next week. Ciao, ciao.